Hello and welcome to today's topic, for loops in Python. Loops in general is a term used for repetition. Similarly, for loop is a loop in Python which steps through the items of a sequence like lists, tuples, or strings and then execute a block of code repeatedly for the number of times based on the number of items in the sequence. For example, let's take a list called sales and it has four elements, let's say 90, 80, 85, and 95. So let's say this is sales of a company in thousands for the last 4 quarters, right, as a list. Now, for loop, what it does is basically runs on this list and it can fetch these elements of the list one by one. Let's understand the syntax of for loop first. For any arbitrary variable var in sequence, colon, and there is a indentation because it's a block. And we can write multiple statements in this loop. And when you are done with the loop, when you are done with writing all the statements in the loop, you can come out of the loop by stop giving the indentation. Right? So let's take an example with this sales list. For, let's say, S arbitrary variable, this can be any variable of your choice, in sales, colon, and let's say I print S. Let's run this and see the output, and then we'll understand how it works. So it prints 90, 80, 85, and 95, which are nothing but the elements of the sales list. Let's see how it works. When Python encounters the for loop, it evaluates the list sales. It sees that the list contains these four elements. And it starts the execution by fetching the first element of the list sales and assigning it to this arbitrary variable S. So in the first time, S has the value of 90. After that, it goes inside the loop and it executes whatever is there inside the loop. We have a print statement here, a print function here, which is nothing but printing the value of S. The value of S is 90, that gets printed. Then after the loop is completed, it goes back and checks if this sales list has the next element in it, which it has. So Python picks it up and assigns the value to the same arbitrary variable S. So basically the value of S will be reassigned with 80. It goes inside the loop, prints the value of S, which is 80, goes back to the loop, checks if there is another element. Yes, it has, which is nothing but 85, reassigns the value of S to 85, goes inside the loop, prints 85. It does the same for the next element, which is 95, reassigns the value of S to 95, goes inside the loop, and prints 95. Now in the next run, is there any element after 95? No. So Python sees that in the sequence sales, there is no next element to be fetched and printed. So the execution of the for loop completes and then it stops executing. In this case, we don't have any other program written after it. So we get the output as these four integers, which are nothing but the elements of the sales list. So basically, for loop fetches the elements of a sequence one by one, and it goes on doing the same thing until all the elements in that sequence gets exhausted. Let's take another example of a string, because string is also a sequence of characters. So let's say S1 is a string which has hello. If I run for, let's say char is a arbitrary variable in S1, print char. Now, each element or each item of a string is nothing but its character, right? So each time when a for loop runs, when for loop runs on a string, each time it fetches the characters of the string one by one. So first time, char variable will have h, it prints that. Second time it will have e, it prints that, and so on and so forth. So each character one by one will be printed in the output. Similarly, it will work the same way in tuples, in sets, and in dictionaries. If you want to know how it works in dictionaries, because dictionary is a key value pair, if you know about it, please comment. If you want to know, please comment that as well. I'll create a video for loop using dictionaries. That's all for this video. Thank you.